Rob Masiello.
Yes, good point. Go ahead.
Rob Masiello and Joey Migliori are very good friends. Joey Migliori is the agent for Trevor McCarthy. And the fact that Trevor isn't riding this horse, now I understand, to be fair, Dylan Davis agent, it's all this family stuff which gets a little in the way, is the uncle of Joe Migliori, is Dylan Davis's agent. But I would think, if any who was really good, that Trevor would be riding that horse. I could be wrong. You never really know. Maybe one of them was a last second. The other one had committed to the race. But that did seem a little strange to me. And it meant to me that either or both, any who isn't any good, or Don't Tell Amy is good enough that we really need to ride this horse.
Fair enough.
So I feel there's enough to that I kind of looked at it, and that's one of the reasons I moved that horse up over the 2. Both of these horses sold for a lot of money at auction, and it's a race where the 3 risk-free is the horse to beat in here. It's a very, very hard horse to take at a relatively short price. Having said that, I'm not sure you can leave the horse out and guess with a bunch of horses to have it run in here, because Risk Free has actually done enough running in her races that I won't be surprised. But man, on the surface of things, and maybe one of these firsters is a stakes horse, and I hope for their connections they are. This is about as weak a 2-year-old maiden filly race as I've ever seen at this time of the year in New York. I went to Jeanette's on Fire. This trainer has not run horses in New York particularly, does win at a reasonable clip. This horse is on the cheaper side. I thought this horse might be a little interesting coming in here, and this was a total guess on my part in a race where, good luck, there's just nothing to go on.
Yeah,
it really isn't. I mean, I see David has Kaylee's Pride at a short price. For Mark Hennig, and not a mock on Mark, but for him to have a first-time starter, that's David listing as the first time, this horse must be working very well.
I literally put this horse second because David has his horse the morning line favorite.
Because David puts them short because he looks at the workouts and he must know, I would assume. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but for him to have put this, he must like something about this horse because, I mean, it's not exactly, on the other hand, there aren't exactly a lot of trainers in here that you expect to take a lot of money first time out.
No.
So, I mean, Mark should be taking more money than Tommy Albertrani. Whether Tom Moore is listed or not, people aren't familiar with that, and the horse I picked is coming from out of town, so we'll see how it works out. Race number 4 is a bit of a skull buster, and a lot going on in this race. Before we get to your horse, who I do actually have a replay for, I wanted to show the race that a whole slew of these horses are coming out of, and I want to start by showing Shady McGee at the start, because I think it's important to note, because it's not in the short comments, the number 2, Shady McGee, blows the break. And I think that's pretty relevant in this situation. This was a race that was won wire to wire. I think Shady McGee got a very good trip after that. But you'll see Luis Saez, as the horse tries to angle out in the stretch, he has a tough time extracting himself. But it was also an impossible race to close in. I mean, this was the merry-go-round race of merry-go-round races. And if I want somebody out of that race, I want that horse because of the compromise at the start and the dynamics.
He had nowhere to go either. He had to wait for room, and room never came, so he had to go into the 7 path, really. Yeah, it was a tough, great name, too, Shady McGee. Yeah, this was there were a handful of races on the card today where it just felt like you were playing a big guessing game.
Well, horse racing is a guessing game. The question
no,
is,
but
what
this is more, to me, this was worse than usual. I mean, Royal Prince, the horse I put on top, he has a number of races that he'll need to be better, but if he improves, and all of his races were last year at 3.
He's not going to improve. We'll show his race in the Caesars. He's not going to improve dropping in for a quarter. To suggest that this horse is going to suddenly improve.
You don't think his figs could get faster?
No.
Okay.
We wouldn't be running for a quarter if they would.
Well,
I mean, he might run an 83. He's probably more likely to run a 73. I've got him third. This horse is being just dumped. I mean, they got rained off for 62.5.
He was in for the tag,
and now he's in right, and now he's in for a quarter a few days later. This horse ain't improving. Now, he might be good enough to win anyway. He kept some pretty reasonable company in these races, and he ran some creditable races. And it's not as though there are any tigers in here. And there's a lot of horses that are probably on the backside of their best races. But to expect him to improve, basically running his first turf race in actually exactly a year. And they just, I mean, this is the dump of dumps, right?
He's out of conditions and...
I understand all those things, but it's a dump. He's a quarter. They don't want him. They want no part of him.
You know what's funny about this, Andy? That he's out of conditions by way of winning 3 stakes races. 2 of the stakes races he won are cheaper than most allowance races that are run nowadays.
Yeah, no, it's funny. $75,000 races is interesting. Yeah. Well,
It's amazing,
I'm not sure
right?
how many non-winners are ones who's going to win for a purse that was higher than that, though, in
Right,
those
no,
kind
I
of
agree,
races.
but I'm just saying
so it's
that,
actually incredibly well handled.
In theory.
Well, that's the Brad Cox. Brad Cox can and does run horses at tracks all over the country. And you take a horse like this. This horse made $260,000
Yes, he
last
did.
year. And at the end of the day, I'm not sure how competitive he would have been in a tough claiming
now if you're
race.
losing for the quarter, you're losing for the quarter.
These are connections did very well. They paid only $70,000 for him. It's time to move on. So maybe it isn't as bad a drop, but still. They have no confidence that this horse is going forward. We'll see. Listen, I will not be surprised if he wins because I don't love all the horses that come out of the same race. Monarch's Glen's getting a little bit tiresome. Good luck to David Jacobson, who wasn't great claiming on the turf when he was training years ago. A Big Agenda's okay, but he's just sort of okay. Jack the Cat ran well last time, but I don't know what kind of trip he's going to work out in this race because there isn't a ton of speed. And it's one thing that helps Royal Prince. Man, he's just supposed to go.
That's the reason I picked. I mean, I picked him for the drop, and I'm just hoping he gets to the front in here. I mean, there's no real speed in this race.
Got to go. And
yeah.
these races are being taken by the horses that are aggressive. I'm going to give Regal Speaker his last chance dropping down to the bottom because I think he's run enough in his races. He got kind of a ridiculous trip last time out. He was out in the middle of no man's land throughout the race against some tougher horses. I don't think that race is as bad as it looks. He's run some okay races at times. I'm going to give him one chance with no confidence. I have no argument with Royal Prince at all. I don't trust him, but I think he has a real chance to wire this field. I'm going to sort of hone it in the inside three. I thought it was a very interesting race, and it was sort of, for me, it was more, I did a lot of horses I don't want. I'm just enough of Monarch's Glen, enough of Big Agenda, enough of Jack the Cat. I guess Chess's Dream, I thought, a little interesting, a new face, but he's going to get overbet with Irad. David's got him 6-1. He's supposed to be a pretty big price in here because he's just not good enough. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't totally dismiss him. Even Barley One has some races. Those are tough posts on the outside. I think it would behoove both Junior and Irad to be aggressive from those outside
try and get
posts
around.
because there isn't much speed in here. Those two horses have enough to be forward, and if you're not, I mean, you could get hung out, and you could be out on you could be on the A train on the first turn.
Barley One used to be plenty fast enough, but that was a different version of Barley One.
Yeah, but he's fast enough if they're aggressive, and Junior's supposed to come flying out of the gate because otherwise, I mean, I don't know. He's not going to win doing that, but I don't know what's going to happen to him if he doesn't do it. You know what I mean?
Stuck in no man's land.
Yeah, I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Just sort of has no real choice. And that race does kick off the pick six. Carry over 45,000 and change. Thank you very much. $635 in the pick six, starting in race number 4. Race number 5. I think a lot of people will concede this race to Cupid's Heart. We'll show her last race. And I get it. I have trouble with that fig, the last race of the day. I guess it works because of the big gap. Timeform has it a much slower race. We'll see what we get, but I am not conceding to this horse. I'm just not. I don't know. She hasn't proven yet to me that she's supposed to be the even money. I think isn't she going to be super short here?
Yeah, I mean, she came, they liked her when she was a 2-year-old. She ran
She was
giant
okay.
first time out.
She's okay.
Good effort first time out. A year ago to the day. Again, that comes up. She ran into a horse in Classy Edition who was going good at the time. She
didn't run well that day.
but
But
she was
something
going,
obviously went wrong too
right.
because she was out for 9 months.
Missed all that time,
Yeah.
and she came back, and
Right,
she
hurt in that race.
I think it's funny. The fact that they let her run on a sloppy track last time, after all that time off, I think is a good sign that whatever was bothering her.
They didn't scratch for a $95,000 purse race. But
Andy
Jay
allowed-
likes to win. Jay and Randy Hill.
Andy,
Jay and Randy Hill would like to.
but
It's like what's
when
that
you're
line?
coming
Princess
back-
Honor. They would.
When you're coming
they
back,
want to win.
from
They
a
want to
long-
win
when
races.
you're coming back from a long layoff.
They want to win races. She was even money. I mean, if you're scratching even money shots in races, I hear you, but I don't know. They
She galloped.
They also thought
She came back, she looked
they
good
thought
now.
she couldn't lose that
Yeah.
day, and they were right. They were absolutely right.
Yeah.
She just destroyed
She
the field.
romped.
I'm not going to be shocked when she wins. I picked her second. I just don't want her at a short price. I'm not. Why can't Cali Magic win this race? I thought her last race was good.
She can.
I mean, she finally at least came back to life. I mean, she's probably not as good
biggest
as
figure of her
Cupid's
career.
Heart, but she at least put those 2 bad efforts at Saratoga behind her. One of them may be down inside, but her race 2 back was awful.
The second race to Mosey-Ankle, which is
But
not
she
very
ran
good.
very well last time. The winner got a better trip. She got a pretty good trip, but the winner got a better trip than she did. And, I think the winner's pretty good, so I don't know. She seems sort of logical. I'm going to give Miss Alacrity another chance in here. And I think it's funny that she's going at 7, but I don't mind that. Beautiful Karen will probably show speed from the rail, but she can stalk. But these 7 furlong races usually don't have that strong a pace. I thought her race 2 back was good enough to win this race behind Mosienko, turned into this win machine in her subsequent starts. First of all, she wasn't taken up early. I understand it's not inaccurate, but it's an inaccurate portrayal of what took place. John Velasquez wanted to get her off the rail, so he kind of steadied her, but didn't even steady her. She didn't lose anything. He's got her off the rail. The thing that was odd about her race was she had absolutely no speed. It wasn't Johnny's fault at all. He asked her.
They put the blinkers on. They put the blinkers on, and she showed no speed.
She was real. It was really weird.
And it's part of the reason I used Beautiful Karen in here. 2 things. One, you always talk about how sometimes it's easier to get the 7 and the 6.
I used Beautiful Karen because Rudy claimed her.
And B, Rudy. So I'm thinking that between no speed from Miss Alacrity, stretching out a little bit, maybe it's easy, and maybe she'll get a piece. And she'll be a little bit of a price in here.
I will fall out of my chair if Miss Alacrity doesn't have speed today. Okay. I don't know what went wrong last time. It was very strange. But I thought her race 2 back was good enough to win. And she's back. And the other thing is it's Wesley Ward. I mean, she's been training at Keeneland. Wesley could have scratched this filly. Yes. And I kind of picked her thinking, well, she'll scratch it, I'll have 5, 6 in
You
here.
kind of had a feeling he wasn't because there was a real rider on it.
Well, yeah, but you know, who knows? Why he names you to ride the horse, and then he puts on Jose or Irad Ortiz. So Wesley plays by a different set of rules with the jockeys and everybody else in the game, and it's not fair to the players. As much as I like Wesley, but that needs to end. Needs to end. He needs to have a rider named.
My point was that he named the rider on the horse.
Yeah, I get it, but why Wesley? He could scratch anywhere, anytime. So he's shipping here. He obviously thinks something went wrong, and he wants to give her a chance.
I thought about it. She was just so bad last time.
She was terrible, horrendous. I mean, she's been good sporadically at times. That was ridiculous. I mean, and it wasn't. Johnny asked her. She had absolutely nothing in there, but she didn't have trouble. I think people shouldn't look at that line and think there was some sort of trouble that led to it, because when Johnny kind of took her off the inside, she wasn't doing any running anyway. I think he was maybe thinking there was some kickback or she wasn't happy inside. He's thinking I got to do something to motivate this filly, and she just never ran a step. We'll take a break. We'll come back with a late pick 4.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
People.
DeRosa.
Anthony and I were joking around off camera about.
You guys got him. You finally got Andy. By the way.
The silly report about the 2.5 inches of rain, and we think it's a ploy by people to tease degenerate horse players.
We were supposed to be building an ark for the rain.
I will be honest. Probably until I started working here, I was as weather obsessed as anybody. I used to have the Weather Channel, and I've told this before. When I lived with Andy Byer in '96 down in Florida, I had the Weather Channel on all the time when we weren't watching replays. And even Andy's wife said to me after the meet, when I called one day and she answered, she goes, "You've got my husband watching the Weather Channel every day." And then I started
That was back in the day before they put shows on, where it was just weather all day, too.
I think it was better. It's like MTV in the beginning.
I hate this program.
MTV was great in the beginning. MTV was the greatest in the beginning. They showed videos.
I want the Halloween music now.
And Martha Quinn was on. The point being, when I came to work here, is when I really sort of stopped. I mean, you look, and if it's a good chance of rain when you're handicapped, you make off the turf.
Well, you realize there's nothing you can do about it.
And it also changes so much. It's like, right, there's nothing you can do about it. And, listen, believe me, it's as upsetting to us if there's a good race, an interesting turf race, and it ends up pouring and coming up. You feel like you would have made a lot of money in that race. It probably saved you money. Race number 6, the Carly Place. Carly Place in Long Island?
Carl Place is in...
Carl or Carly?
Carl Place is... Carl. No, wait, the E silent. Yeah, it's in Long Island. There's a lot of shopping over there, right by the
One of your favorite shopping spots?
Roosevelt Field
Love
Mall. There's a great
shopping.
OTB in Carl Place, one of the last OTBs.
I lost
remaining from Nassau County.
$100,000 already in this race. I bet that Anthony would have the 10 somewhere in there, so I've already
You
buried
lost 100 dimes on that?
100,000. It's the biggest lock ever. I laid 100,000 to win $10.
Wow.
I laid 10,000 to 1. By the way, I won the sleaziest lunch from you ever yesterday. I won the sleaziest lunch.
Well,
my friend Steve.
I sent you the number.
My
right?
friend Steve texted me after the race right after you texted me. Anthony texted me and said you won by $2,009.
$2,097.
My friend Steve texted me right after the race and said, I bet $2,000 on the 7 so you'd win the lunch from Anthony. But the thing was, Anthony was actually, if you look at CAW wagering, in every single multi-race wagering pool, your horse McKinnon was favored. Now, it's worked both ways before
Of
for you
course
and
it
I.
does, yeah.
But it was pretty funny. Not only did I win by 2,000, but when I saw the will pays, I said, well, Anthony's dead right here.
Phil texted me. He's like, "How'd you do?" I was like, "No, guys, just make sure you remind Andy that while I'm in Vegas, he's got to hang out with you. So you got to hang out with me this week because Phil's going to Vegas." And then he said, "You just check what you lost that bet."
Phil's going to Vegas?
Yeah.
Phil, I would like to book the other side. I just want to know. I would like to book the other side. Whatever it is, really. Anyway, race number 6 is a fun race. We'll take a look at your horse on top, Ola Kid. And I think sort of amazing. You know, this horse, I mean, I got lucky betting a few dollars on this horse at Saratoga. But where the heck did this come from? This was some performance.
Less than 3 weeks, comes right back, and I mean, he goes and gets the horse on the front end, and he just leaves him for dead.
I remember watching this race live. I'd liked some horse that finished 17th, and thinking, who was that who won the race?
He just look at it. He just and he levels out.
And
he just
there's
goes.
there's even a gap. At this point, I mean, it kind of closes up, but I mean, he smothered these horses.
Yeah, he buried them.
Listen, I'm not against him. He runs back to that race. This field could be in trouble. I just kind of want to see it again. But
got to race over the
geez,
course.
Did he run? Big day for Randy today. Think Randy makes it over here?
I don't know.
Does Randy come to the Big A much?
I've seen him in the Horseman's Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good guy. Run Curtis run. You have second, I have third.
He's got plenty of pace. I mean, he's got plenty of speed in here to run into two. I mean, when that horse stats rights around, there's plenty of gas.
We'll get to him in a second. As far as Run Curtis run, I don't have a problem with him, and obviously they all get away from Big Invasion this race. We'll show one of his races. I don't know which one we're showing. Probably his last race.
This is at
the Franklin,
Downs,
the prestigious Franklin Simpson, second to one timer, who was 19 to 1. Big Invasion just didn't show up in this race at all. He was like, you know what? I was shocked when I looked at this result that he finished third. Because I remember watching this race live and thinking, Big Invasion's
getting nothing.
Going to finish 8th in here. I couldn't believe he ended up running third. The problem with Run Curtis Run is, as well as he's running his races, he just doesn't win. And is he always losing to better horses? I guess No Balls was okay for that one race. He's run against Big Invasion. Where did this last winner come up with that race? It seemed a little surprising. He was the speed. He is pretty good. He's pretty logical in here. I guess he's the horse, the most reliable horse. How's that? Because
Sure.
you don't know if the three's going to run back to
6 of 9, yeah, forward.
it just always sort of shows up and runs well. Now, as far as the horse you're talking, well, no, actually, we're going to Kentucky Downs first, and we'll get to my
Back
horse.
to Kentucky Downs?
I want to show the start of the race, the Too Many Twizzlers, a funny name. I like that name.
No such thing, by the way.
Twirling Candy, Too Many Twizzlers. This horse blows the brake. So when it says off slow, you never know for sure what it means. This horse totally blew the brake. Now, what's interesting, though, is Irad ends up getting inside, and he gets this good inside position. Now, Joel Rosario, who's riding Sasua Summer, he does what he thinks is the right thing, which is to get behind this horse. He's kind of outside of him now, but Joel thinks, okay, I'm not going to go around the field. I'm going to go duck more towards the inside. But it doesn't matter. This horse gets the clean path. Jesus, wow, don't do that, guys. And he jumps behind him, and he's getting blocked. He's blocked in there behind horses while you see him in the yellow, sort of like sick. He just lost all position, and not yellow, but ahead of him, but he just loses every chance to win this race. Very unlucky trip for that horse. It just kind of ended up going into a spot that got him in trouble while Irad got into the right spot and got the jump on him even after braking slowly. So Sasua Summer, I thought, ran very well breaking his maiden. I think at the end of the day, he's a horse that's wanted to sprint all along. And I think his last race dirties him up a little bit. I'm going to give him a chance off a trip there and hope he gets it done.
Okay.
Just because he'll be a better price. But I have no problem with the horses you have on top. As far as that's right, I got to tell you something. First of all, one of the reasons I showed it is Grooms All Business, extreme wide rallying, extremely misleading quote to put in the forum. Guys, you got to turn that off in our earpieces. You've got to turn it off, guys. You can't. It's ridiculous. This horse was too wide in the turn and angled out in the stretch.
Yeah.
He has a little wide. There it is. When you think of Parks and they say really wide, you think they're out the outside rail. As far as the winner, do you really trust this horse getting 6? You're more disciplined than I am, but
Yeah.
5 to 6 a lot.
Probably have the bigger problem with his one race on the circuit just being clearly his worst effort.
Well, I mean, it was
he's
a
fast,
pretty
Andy.
fast pace, and he ran against Big
He's
Invasion.
fast.
But he is fast.
I know. There's no big invasion. Like you said, they're all getting away from Big
You
Invasion.
got him third. I got him nowhere. So
know.
I'm not. I
Well,
got
I'm
him fifth.
afraid of him just getting in front of you. I mean, he's the fastest horse in here, and he might just go.
Oh, he's fast.
Yeah.
No, he's fast, and I agree. He's going to get in front of these horses.
That
There's no
scares
question
me more
about
than
it.
it scares you, I think. So I ordinarily will gravitate towards these horses more than you will. It's a fun race. It's an interesting
Oh, it's a
race.
great race. I'm not throwing out too many Twizzlers.
No.
Listen, I don't like Legends Can Die, but he probably benefited from the turn back. Even Surprise Boss at times has run some good races in here. Grooms All Business. I don't think it's impossible
Randy's
off
got
that
both
race.
of them. Randy might have to be here today. He's got
Randy's the Sol Cumin of. He wins the Sol Cumin Award for the most shares of horses over the last 2 years. Really, he's supplanted Sol. You're off the hook, Sol. Sal's never watched Talking Horses, so I can make as much fun of him.
You think
as I
so?
want. I find he's a disloyal friend. He's
Wow.
never watched Talking Horses. I'm going to text him and ask him if he's ever watched Talking Horses.
Your boy Ray Handel was watching America's Day at the Races the other day. He texted Maggie
Ray's
while we were
the
talking
greatest.
about him. Yeah,
Ray's
well, maybe we'll get that dinner one of these days.
Nah, I've given up on that. You know what happened anyway? He'd go to the bathroom, the check came, and I'd end up getting stuck
He
with the check.
pull. You think they'll be pulling Larry David?
I'd look around or whatever. He wouldn't be around. So I don't,
Start
I don't
with
want
the
to
babe
risk
stuff.
it.
Start with the
I don't
babe
want to
stuff.
risk it.
All right.
Race number 7.
Yeah, because you
The
know
second biggest-
I'm not picking it up.
The second biggest upset of the day is that Anthony didn't pick Masked Marauder. He's really turned on you, Rudy. Wow. We'll show Masked Marauder's inexplicable 96 buyer performance. It never happened before. It never happened again, and it ain't happening today. But I'm going to tell you something.
There's no need for it to happen today.
This horse is like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid jumping. This guy, first of all, it's not a terrible drop. They claimed it for $25,000. I mean, look at who this horse has been running against
sure.
in his dirt races. My God. I mean, it's a host of horses, one after the other, that would smother this field. I couldn't not take him.
$39,000 pot. They claim him, and he wins, and he gets claimed. It's about $47,000. You hand him the shank too.
They made some money with him this year.
Tell him to take the shank with him.
Jake Rocks.
Yeah.
Lee. Do you know that Sean needed him? Sean was live with a friend of his in the pick 5 with him. I think it was like 28,000
Last time?
And I mocked him. I said he's got no shot, and he had the lead in the stretch, so that he might win.
He ran well.
Yeah.
And now he gets to sit off a spectator.
No, he's a
list.
win machine. No, he is. I tell you what.
And motion to
Nobody
strike.
likes the winner's circle like Jake Rocks.
No, I know that, but I think he's going to get a good setup in here right off of them.
I think it's kind of appropriate that Dave Donk, a Jets fan, also has a horse that's 2 for 35, or used to have a horse 2 for 35 lifetime. You know I love Jake Rock. I'm the original member of the fan club.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him on
You
top.
know, now that I think about it, well, there's a lot of Dave Donk horses you've had an affinity for.
Yeah, I like Dave.
Crocheron Kid.
He ran second in the Raven Run yesterday. That horse was way back. The problem with running those long races is it dulls
dulled her
their
out.
speed, and
Yeah.
she was just too far back.
Yeah, I liked her yesterday. I'm a fan of her.
She wasn't
She's a
good
nice
enough. I mean,
filly.
to be fair, Wicked Halo ran well. Knight got a 106 buyer yesterday, by the way, winning the Perryville. I think 92 for. Steve Asper said did not rule out he would run back in 2 weeks in the Breeders' Cup Mile. I don't think anybody.
dirt mile.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think anybody ran the Breeders' Cup Mile really didn't sleep soundly last night. Biggest question of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, honestly, is that Baffert horse that won the Pat O'Brien. That horse ran a 108 buyer last time. The Juddmonte horse. That's the biggest question. That horse runs back to that race.
I was on Twitter yesterday that Chad Brown has pretty much said Jack Christopher's going in the sprint.
Yeah, where he belongs. I think a lot of trainers, sort of, in addition to kind of a conversation you and I started a few weeks ago, they've just decided horses can't win at 6 furlongs that can. Why?
Weird.
Christopher, when
Very
he won the
strange.
7 furlong, Alan Jerkins, he was in front, top of stretch, right?
But he broke his mating on 3/4 too.
But he also was in front in
Yeah.
the last race. Yeah. Oh, I want to run him in the sprint.
A lot of overthinking.
A lot of overthinking.
A lot of overthinking.
Yeah. Well, and the Breeders' Cup is given it by putting in that needless Breeders' Cup.
The
You
dirt mile.
can't call it a championship event and have a race that doesn't decide a championship.
Right, they call it the World Championships. Yeah, I know.
I like the
And listen,
races.
it's a
It's like the
two-turn-
Breeders'
it's a
Cup
two-turn
Juvenile
mile.
Turf. It's a fun race. I'm probably going to lose 5 figures in it before I die. I hope I live long enough to lose 5 figures in it because I don't bet enough in it. But I'll probably never win money in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Actually, that's not true. I won money last year. I had the exacta for a little bit, I believe. But they're fun races, and the mile's a fun
Yeah.
race. But it's not a championship.
And it's not a true dirt mile. 2-turn miles, not really a true dirt
The
mile.
horse in here that's scary is Mr. Breadwinner, and we'll show his last race. And I know that you're laughing that I'm discussing this with the Chad Summers horse, but I think
You picked this horse higher than I did. I got him third.
I almost put him on top. Well, where did Eben get that race from last time? Eben had run 84, 63, 80, 73, 94. And I'll tell you something else that's interesting is that Eben was claimed by the same people that own this horse. And this horse actually ran fine last time.
Yeah, it was
In fact,
okay.
he ran just fine enough to beat me out of a score, just fine enough. And I'm going to tell you, there isn't a lot in this race that I like. I mean, most of the strikes can go to the lead. He wins. It's good luck to him. And to ignore what Eben did last week for these connections and for Chad Summers, I think is a mistake in here. And this horse is very, very, very dangerous.
I think you just got to
in
use
this
the
race.
1, 7, and 9. Hope you can move the change if you're playing.
I'll
pick
use the 1 and
six.
7.
No 9 for you at all, huh?
Nope. Doesn't
Wow.
win.
Gotta
Doesn't
be
win.
very
Not
careful,
for me.
Andy.
Oh, I'm really worried.
He
It's the
could trip.
difference.
He could get the trip today.
Race number 8's a fun race. I tell you, the shocks just keep continuing.
Well,
When
who do
you
think I was
didn't
gonna take
default
in
to
here?
Tis a Pity in race number 8, I mean, you're just full of surprises
Lucky,
today.
Tizapity's lucky she got honorable mention in here.
We'll show her last race. She was lucky to get second in her
Yep.
last race because Fontana Freda was a million lengths the best.
Yes.
And Patria did all. This is a funny one because Fontana Freda closed from Yaddo. She actually was in Yaddo when they went around the turn. If you don't know Yaddo, it's about a quarter mile down the road from the turn. And the winner was involved in a wicked pace at 100 to 1. It's the winner, the
speed,
third
you
horse.
mean, yeah.
And she just saved ground the inside and angled out.
Suck up second.
This is one of the great suck-up seconds of the year. And she has a chance to win it here, and she hangs. I mean, this was a little bit of a chandelier act. I guess she can win, but she ain't too
Yeah, I'm
excited.
with you.
So, Royal Dancer, by the way, who Anthony didn't like last time, he is on
Hated it.
top today.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out.
So you're allowed to. You're allowed to.
Revamp?
Yeah, you're allowed
She
to
can
say
win.
you made a mistake.
Well, to be fair, you like Shinful to finish second, so it's not like you embarrassed yourself in the race. She's dangerous. I don't know. I just hate taking horses off maiden wins. But go ahead. Have at it.
I mean, she's drawn outside of.
Yeah, she's drawn outside,
Her
we know
better
that.
races are when she's forward. She's drawn outside of anybody else who wants to take a swing in here. I would imagine Saratoga Gaze is going to go to the lead, but.
She ran big last
we'll
time.
see what Doc Rock and Silken Dollar do. I mean, they're
No,
probably
she's
not
supposed
fast
to be.
enough.
She's supposed to be sitting
or
second,
third,
right
yeah.
on top of Saratoga Gaze. I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that.
I think
she
she
can win.
work out the right trip.
I'm teasing you, but I don't
trust the
think
rest.
she
No,
will.
I don't trust the rest. I
I like
don't trust any of
Dufresne.
them.
I like Dufresne.
Okay.
Not only
You
because
just
I
love the movie.
I do love the movie. Who doesn't love
Who
that
doesn't
movie?
love the movie? You don't got to tell me about Shawshank Redemption, buddy.
It's great. Rocco Landisman is the one who told me to see that movie. When it first came out, I thought, I'm going to see this. Movie looks stupid. Rocco said, oh, no, it's great. You got to go see it. He was right. It's great. Dufresne's run longer races and run fine. Now, granted, Gold Rail last time dresses up a little bit. I actually think this horse wants to go shorter. I look at the race going shorter. This race, the Palace Gossip race, that race was dominated up front. I actually thought this horse ran pretty well in there. I thought she was very interesting. You look at her early races, you extrapolate from her early races sprinting. I just wonder if maybe Mike Trombetta made a mistake sort of stretching out. Now, she ran all right in those races, but I wonder if she should have been sprinting all along. And I'll tell you something. You look at the Blame It on Mary race, I want to show the difference in trips with Lisa's Vision and Silken Dollar. Silken Dollar gets an unbelievably great ride in this race, right? Comes up the rail, saves every inch of ground. I thought Saez rode this horse to absolute perfection in here. And I'm not blaming the rider because I don't think Jose Ortiz did anything wrong on Lisa's Vision, but she got sort of caught in the outside, and she ends up getting a way wide run. And you could say, okay, she had the clean outside run. She ran a lot better than Silken Dollar did in that race, in my opinion.
I agree.
And I just thought that was a nice effort by her. I wouldn't dismiss her.
Yeah.
She's got that, she's got that race when she broke her maiden at 7. I think she's dangerous. She's the horse they liked a lot in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There is a half, which, by the way, you won't be here, but there's a half to You Should Be Dancing. It might be a full. It might be a full to You Should Be Dancing debuting for our man, Adam. Thursday.
Nice.
That's a fun race, the 8th race, though. I think a lot going on in there. And race number 9, we got a $5,000, as Anthony said, dollars, not points, hit and split on the trifecta. Now, I have a question.
Sure.
If I hit it for $2, do I get 4 times the guy who has it for
I
50
don't know.
cents?
I don't know if it's per ticket. I don't know how it works.
Per person? Got to be careful.
Yeah.
That's something that's going to come up. Anyhow, much more than you'll see in the others. What'd you do? Oh, well, you just went to Eddie Barker. It was the 9th race. It was a tough card. And you said, who's my friend in here? Not Steve.
I have a lot of friends.
No,
Probably talked to
but
Steve more than I talked to Eddie.
Steve Asmussen?
Yeah.
He called lately? How's he doing?
It's all right.
Good. Good to know.
Talked to him.
I've seen very
last week.
very little Eddie Barker. Not enough Eddie
He
Barker.
pocket dialed me the other day.
Not enough Eddie Barker.
Didn't tell me about
I love
the
Barker.
Eddie the Great.
Yeah,
Well,
I didn't tell you about
if I was going to default to a friend, Rudy's in here.
By the way,
Pat Reynolds.
the idea that you would ever need a tip on an Eddie Barker horse, he loves every horse he runs.
I'm kidding.
You don't need to know. This was lucky anyway.
He pocket
Our
dialed me
horse
a
got a
lot.
ridiculous trip in that race. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just took the horse that ran for the open tag first time out. I know it wasn't a great race. Ran in the special weight and had some trouble last time. And Yo My Girl came back and ran a bang up second in the Frisette. And so just dropping into the tags, I thought she was in a spot where she made a little sense.
I wonder.
Rider's not going to take a lot of attention. I figure she'll be a decent enough price in a crapshoot.
I want either Rick Schosberg horse that runs in this race. I wanted Mommy Emoji Dreams. They scratched. The other one gets in with Dylan, and she ran against very good horses in her 2 starts. I want Pebble Lane in this race. I think she can be forward a little bit with blinkers on, and I want her. She is dropping out of races against so much better than these. And I'm going to use a little hypnocurrency. Jamie Begg, the former assistant to Mark Casse. It's a move we've seen Casse do well with. We've seen Jamie do it. Horses that are on the turf, going back to the dirt. Now, this horse has no dirt pedigree, but so does nobody in here. So I'm 3X with the 2 in here in race number 9 to close it out with a pick 6 carryover. Naira Bets, you know the drill. Head on over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets,
Shame
no
on
better
you.
time than the present. Exactly. Shameful. You should probably hold your head low if you're not a member. Use the promo code CUP25. We will match for $25 of your initial deposit plus a $200 deposit match. Head on over to Naira Bets. That $45,635 carryover starts in race number 4.
You know what? I missed the change. Remember we used to put the change up there? Where'd the change go?
No. Ask somebody else. Ask Joe Longo. We've got this split. Go over to Naira Bets to get more information. Opt in at Naira Bets. And finally, last but not least, 12:30 to 5, America's Day of the Race. Covering all the action today. Chris Griffin, filling in again for Johnny I. He's up next. And of course, he'll be back full-time in the new year, 2023. With the changes, we'll see you later. Have a great day.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good afternoon and welcome to Belmont at the Big A. 30 minutes until race 1. Track is fast, the turf is firm. Here are today's scratches and changes. Race 1 started the early pick 5, scratch the 2B, McCullough. Scratch the 11, Equal Protection. Scratch the 12, Big Wicks. Race 2 started the early pick 4. Scratch the 8, Corinna. Scratch the 10, Suspended Campaign. Race 3, the 1 is 2 pounds over. +2 on the 1 in today's third. Race 4 started the pick 6 with a carryover, $45,635. Scratch the 13, Ario. Scratch the 14, Great Workout. Race 5 is clear. No changes in today's fifth. Race 6, the 7 is +1. Scratch the 9, Maya Prince. Scratch the 11, Cyber Viking. Race 7 is clear. No changes. In race 8, scratch the 11, Steal My Heart. Scratch the 12, Queen's Dancer. Scratch the 13, Exfiltration. Race 9, scratch the 3, Mommy Joe Dreams. Scratch the 6, Sarah's Dialed In. The 7, Make the Rider Jorge Vargas Jr. Scratch the 8, My Sweet Banker. Carryover in the pick 6 starts in race number 4. Track is fast, turf is firm. Good luck.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
In today's first race, please note the rider on the 7, Weiss Kraken, will now be Jose Gomez on the 7 in race 1.